Well, there's big news out about The Marvels, the next MCU film that's coming to us this winter. Turns out this news is not necessarily good, though, and it may indicate very easily that the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Entertainment feel quite poorly about the opportunities that the Marvels will have in terms of the quality of the film and holding on to fans. So, what is that news, you ask? Well, we're about to dive right into it, and as we do so, folks, we will continue to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of the culture curve by showing you a correlation that you probably won't find anywhere else. Hello, how are you? And welcome back to the WDW Pro channel. What a joy it is that you share your time with us. Thank you for inviting us onto your screens, into your audio devices. It is a true pleasure. Folks, we are going to dive straight in today with The Direct. It is a website, and this article is by Lauren Rouse. The Marvels receives record-breaking runtime, but do not get so excited if you think this is going to be a bit of positive news. No, this has Disney more nervous than Brie Larson getting back on the carpet. The Marvels runtime has revealed that Brie Larson's upcoming sequel breaks a big MCU record. The second movie in the Captain Marvel series will bring together 3 MCU stars. Now, folks, you all know who this is. We're getting Monica Rambeau, we're getting Miss Marvel, we're getting Captain Marvel, and straight out of the gate from Secret Invasion, the disastrous Disney Plus series, Samuel L. Jackson returning as Nick Fury. Don't forget, folks, also that the damage that was done via the Captain Marvel original film and the marketing around that, where it made people feel they had to go see it in order to understand Endgame, and it turned out to be true, well, that damage likely has spread now to the point that they could not make a direct sequel, Captain Marvel 2. No, they had to make The Marvels and try to save it that way. It signifies one of the most major crossover events in the MCU timeline, according to this article. Nay, I say, I don't think that there are very many people quite excited about this one. But here's what it says. While the official PG-13 rating of The Marvels may not have been all that surprising, the runtime of the film definitely is. The AMC Theaters website has The Marvels runtime clocking in at 1 hour and 45 minutes. For reference, the first Captain Marvel ran 2 hours and 3 minutes. Now, what this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that this film, which, by the way, has had just as much production as other Marvel films or more because of the significant reshoots, they're culling a vast majority of the production, of the shots, of the scenes, in order to get this down to be at an obscene and teeny-weeny level compared to other MCU films. Now, what are we talking about? Well, it's 8 minutes below even the lowest other MCU films. It is something like 13 minutes under the prior, I'm sorry, 18 minutes under the prior Captain Marvel movie. And I'm going to show you something here in this list, because this is what we try to do on the channel. We try to show you things that you won't see elsewhere. Let's take a look at this. The runtimes of all the MCU movies to date are listed below shortest to longest. So the higher up in the list, the shorter it is and the longer. We're going to take a look at not a direct correlation here, but definitely a correlation that gives us some indication as to what is going on behind the scenes. Before we do so, let me say this. I also realize beyond this correlation that a shorter runtime is likely being employed here to try to drive up the number of showings that it can occur for this film, and that likely suggests that Disney is not confident, and they are going to need every possible showing they can get. And this even comes on the heels of Dune 2 being moved to next year, which frees the Marvels up from some competition, and yet still, they feel they need as many possible showings as they can get. But take a look at this. The Incredible Hulk, 1 hour, 52 minutes. Thor: The Dark World, 1 hour, 52 minutes. Again, 8 minutes longer than The Marvels. Thor, 1 hour, 55 minutes. Doctor Strange, 1 hour, 55 minutes. Ant-Man, you get the idea. Take a look at the correlation, though, that I see. Tell me in the comments if you see this. These shortest Marvel movies, they're not so great in terms of the ones you would pick as the best Marvel films, are they? I mean, look again. The Incredible Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, Thor, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor: Love and Thunder. In fact, you have to go all the way down to Guardians of the Galaxy before you find a film that's really, really good. Guardians of the Galaxy is a tight film, and it is really good. And it still doesn't get much better after that. Captain Marvel, Iron Man 2, these are not the kinds of films that you would promote and prompt up as being the best in the MCU list of films. So What do we find if we go to the longer films, though? Let's take a look at this. Well, you find Avengers Endgame, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which not great, but not terrible either. Eternals, okay, this is the exception. Eternals is a bad movie, and it's still 2 hours and 36 minutes. It's extraordinarily punishing for that reason. But then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man No Way Home, Captain America Civil War, The Avengers, Avengers Age of Ultron. Again, not a great movie. But so out of the top 10, for the longest films, you only really have about 2 that are not good. The others are all fairly well contenders for being some of the best MCU films we've ever seen. Well, let me tell you what I think goes on. I think the longer the MCU film, it tends to be the more confidence that Marvel Entertainment has in the content and the quality of the product. And therefore, they think a longer runtime is going to make fans even happier. And it seems to me that the shorter the content, although it's not a direct correlation, and sometimes the creators get these things wrong, seems that the shorter the runtime, the less you can expect from the film, and the less that the studio believes that they can expect from the film. I mean, you don't have to look at Incredible Hulk, Dark World, Thor, Doctor Strange for too long to figure out, oh, these are some of the weaker films. The Marvels is significantly less runtime than any of the other films. Way less. What does that say about how Marvel is feeling about the Marvels? And you know what? They probably had good reason to feel this way. Remember what we said. This movie has seen significant production, seen reshoots. That means that there's more material. And so that means for it to be the shortest film of all time out of the MCU, well, it means that more stuff had to be cut than it even would be for a regular movie. But we have some indication about why this is. Take a look at this out of Variety by Zach Sharf. The Marvel's director would text Shang-Chi filmmaker on stressful shoot days, sometimes thought on set, what the hell does any of this mean? In an interview with Vanity Fair, the Marvel's director, Nia DaCosta, revealed she was in frequent contact with previous Marvel directors before and during the making of her MCU tentpole. She asked the directors of Eternals, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor Ragnarok before accepting the Marvel's directing gig if entering the Marvel world was a good idea. Are they going to kill me and destroy my soul? Is Kevin Feige a bad man? She joked. And they were like, no, he's just a good guy who was a nerd. During the making of the Marvels, she would text Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton on tough shoot days. She would text him, I'm overwhelmed and I'm so stressed. Folks, have you ever heard of Steven Spielberg texting people and saying, oh my gosh, I just can't handle this. This whole directing thing, it's just too much. No. Have you ever heard of Quentin Tarantino doing that? No. What about Christopher Nolan? No. Tim Burton? No. In fact, I haven't heard of anybody, man or woman, who comes out in an interview and tells you that they were texting other people, the director now, okay, this is the boss, and telling them they were overwhelmed and stressed. Now, who knows? Maybe she had a loss in the family. Maybe there was something incredibly stressful that added to this. We all have weak points in our life, so we're not trying to be overly cruel here if that was happening. But that said, you don't expect the big boss of whatever you're doing to be texting people and saying, I can't handle this. This is just so much. DaCosta told Vanity Fair, sometimes you'd be in a scene or you'd be like, what the hell does any of this mean? Or an actor's looking at some crazy thing happening in space and they're actually looking at a blue X. There were obviously hard days and days where you're like, this just isn't working. You know, that's not a confident interview prior to a film releasing. This is not the kind of thing that you hear out of something that involves, say, Tom Cruise or, well, any kind of film that you have high hopes for. This sounds like already hedging. And when we see that it has the shortest runtime of all time for an MCU film, it's no surprise. Because one, we already have a director out there who's claiming she was overwhelmed, that she was stressed, that she didn't know what any of this meant, and it was weird and bizarre. And then at the same time, we also have Disney likely desperate to get this thing on as many screens as possible, and that probably has something to do with the idea that they're not confident a longer film could hold up. This is a decision that the studio has made to put out the shortest MCU film of all time. And it does not portend for a good run for the Marvels. For now, having Brie Larson Actually be able to get back on the red carpet again is the least of Disney's worries. And anytime Brie on the carpet is the least of your worries, you're in a very worrisome position. All right, folks, that is the video for today. If you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below and tell me, do you agree with that not perfect, but somewhat reliable correlation between runtime and quality of MCU film? I'd love to know your thoughts in regards to the Marvels and what you have in terms of expectations now that you know the runtime is down there at record-breaking low levels. We care about what you think. We covet what's on your mind. Folks, it's a big, big week coming up. We're going to break some news regarding Dave Filoni Monday morning. It's going to be an exciting video. Have to tread a little lightly on that one. Don't even know how we're going to put out some of the stuff we've got. We'll see you there Monday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And until then, folks, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Listen up, my brothers and sisters. You've been listening to Phils and those with an agenda to destroy your brain cells for far too long. It's time to change your way of doing things. Hold up. TPP is the place to be. Covering the news so honestly. It's a team that's cool and tried and true. Ahead of the culture curve, they're trying to keep you. Jonas and Pro, they run the show, and they dragged in the bearded culture casino. You got Valiant and Lord and Fourth of Line. Wonderful people, yeah, they're alright. They got weird bringing in people like Floral, but made no mistake with Lorena Creole. Amelia and John, stuttering guitarist. Martin and Tawny and someone called CMS. Fat Steven makes a bunch of all the graphics. Did I mention a partnership with Bending in the comics? Fat Sky is a guy and Doc Matt does the web stuff. There's probably some people I missed. I hope they're not telling you the news. That should be fun with accurate info that's not been spun. You can figure it out as you will